Hello, this is Humble Skeptic with the first video on my new channel, which is dedicated on promoting reason and rationality and talking about the issues that rationalism faces today. And what better way is there to start than to talk about the basic pillar of any rational thinker's worldview, the logic, and why it is so amazing. Of course, as any subject of importance, logic has many definitions, and there are many people who understand the word logic very differently from me. But here's my definition. Logic is the analysis of things by the logical rules they contain. And logical rules are limitations to what something can be, or rules that make some options less probable than others. Here's what this means. This is a thing you don't know anything about. All the options are possible. It can be anything. Now I make a logical rule. I say that it is round. Now all the options which aren't round get limited off. Your knowledge about the thing has increased. It can't be just anything anymore. Then I say that it is a ball. Now all the options that aren't balls get limited off. Then I say that it is made of leather. Now all the options that aren't made of leather get limited off. You now have a pretty good understanding of the thing I'm talking about. It is a leather ball. But I could have continued, adding more logical rules, more limitations, until only one possible option remained. Then you would have known all there is to know about the leather ball. Of course, I could have only said that it is only with 90% certainty that it is a ball, or that it is only with 80% certainty made of leather. And it would still have given you information, although the information would have never been complete, and all the options would have had at least small possibility. Let's make another example. Let's say that the birds are all completely blue and of no other color. Now all the options where the birds are of different color than blue are limited off. Then let's say one bird is red. Now all the options where there isn't even one red bird are limited off. Now this is a problem, because we have to limit all the options off, none remain. This is called a logical paradox. It is when the logical rules that are proposed are contradictory and leave no possible option open. That is why they are never true. Another important situation is when the proposition is true in all possible options. For example, all the bachelors are unmarried. That statement is always true, because there can never be a world where a bachelor is married, because that itself would be paradoxical. If there is a bachelor in a world, he is unmarried. These are called logical necessities, and they are important for many philosophical proofs. For example, you can prove that you exist by realizing that a being that thinks it exists is always right, and a being that thinks it doesn't exist is always wrong. I think, therefore I am. There are a lot of these statements, and they are great for philosophical axioms, because they are always true. I will talk about axioms later. But what I did in previous examples was only defining things by making rules for what they are. Isn't logic also about deductive reasoning and realizing new stuff about things? As I said at the beginning, logic is the analysis of things by the logical rules they contain. You can make conclusions about things by following their logical rules. For example, a car drives forward between 15 and 16 kilometers an hour. How much has it traveled in 2 hours? Let's draw a graph of this journey. Here's the travel time and here's the travel distance. The logical rules limit all these options off, so the car has traveled a distance between these lines. And the question adds another limit when it asks what has happened at this point in time. These options are limited off, and this part of the line is the only thing left. Now, by following the logical rules, we have deduced that the car has traveled between 100 and 120 kilometers. A logical conclusion. The important thing to realize is how universal logic is. Try to say anything about anything without making a logical rule, without making a limitation. When you say love is important, you are limiting all the things off that aren't important. When you say God is powerful, you are limiting all the things off that aren't powerful. The only thing you can say without making a logical rule is to say that something is completely random and can therefore be anything. The another amazing thing about logic is that it is non-axiomatic. An axiom is when someone asks, how come is that? And you have to prove what you just said. And he can ask again, how come is that? And you have to prove what you just used as your proof. And this can keep on going until you just can't make up another proof. This is your axiom. It is the basic assumption you have to make. And the axiomatic problem is that all the propositions are like that. You can always ask, how come is that, for any proposition. The great thing about logic is that it is non-axiomatic, because it doesn't make any propositions. It just analyzes what other propositions propose, and it doesn't even make any rules of its own, because it just follows the logical rules that the propositions themselves make. That is why logical conclusions are automatically valid, because they can't be wrong, because they make no assumptions of their own. The assumptions made by propositions are always the responsibility of their maker, not logic. Many people think that there are things that are above logic, but you just can't be above logic. If there are logical rules in something, logic just tells you what they mean. If there aren't, then logic doesn't tell you anything. Of course, I dare you to try to say anything meaningful about anything without making logical rules. Post your suggestions as comments. Anyway, those are the reasons I think logic is amazing and why it is the basic pillar of my worldview. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be making a new one every 1 or 2 weeks. If you found this interesting, subscribe and like. And have a nice day.